It's clear it will be Trump v. Biden unless something changes. Mark Brnovich, former Attorney General of Arizona and friend of this programme, joins me. It's a rematch.
Not between you and I.
No, but I mean, is Biden really going to make it through to November the 5th?
Well, you recall last year when I was on your show, I said that I predicted that Joe Biden will not be the nominee.
I know, but look at it.
I still stand by that. Obviously, the Democrat and identity politics in America, they have a problem. Because someone like Gavin Newsom would probably be a much better candidate.
The governor of California.
The governor of California. But they have Kamala Harris, who may be a worse candidate than President Joe Biden. And because of the identity politics, the left in America, they can't have a good-looking white male being the standard bearer for the Democratic Party.
Well, I guess, we're going to get to the Democrat convention. That'll be in August. And if Biden gets through that, provided he's well enough, he is the candidate. I find it totally and utterly extraordinary.
Yeah, and who knows if they'll make it? I mean, they could change him at the convention, but I mean, watching the American State of the Union, earlier this week, I thought to myself, it reminded me, we have Chettle races, the racer come up, the Gold Cup, and it's like, they shoot the horses up with, they dope them, so they get them to run fast. The problem is that they fall over the very next day, there's only so many times you can do that.
No racehorse trainers sue us, please.
Yes.
Mark, Trump's legal challenges is slightly bewildering to us on this side of the pond. Some charges in Georgia potentially dropped. Trump fighting back. Have his problems eased a little bit since you last came in?
Yes and no. Now, without a doubt, some of the charges, some of the counts have been dismissed in Georgia, but the reality is the most serious one involving the racketeering laws is still ongoing. So he's still facing that. He's still facing criminal charges in New York. Just today, as we're sitting here, there's arguments going on in a Florida court about whether any of the Florida charges should be dismissed. So to me, it's unfortunate. I was a prosecutor, federal prosecutor, state prosecutor. What we are seeing is unprecedented in the United States. You're seeing a weaponization of the criminal justice system. It's something that normally happens in third world countries. But I guess, as we've had a record amount of people coming in from third world countries in the United States now, it shouldn't be any surprise that we are now developing a third world criminal justice system.
That's a very sad thing to say. But something fascinating is going on within the demographics of the United States. Have a look at these graphs up on the screen because they are really, really interesting. For so many decades, it's been taken as a given that, the black and Hispanic vote would go towards the Democrats. And indeed, if you look at those blue on the left-hand side, that tells you that an exit poll in the 2020 election said that 87% of black voters voted Biden, only 12% for Trump. 65% of Hispanic voters voted Biden. Now look across on the other side, and you'll see some remarkable changes. Trump now leading quite clearly over Biden on Hispanic voters. And whilst there is still a gap on the black voters, it's changing. Trump is picking up Hispanic voters. I remember it was said at the time of the Romney election in 2012, Republicans could never win again because of the growth of the Hispanic population. And yet, the number of white voters who are going to vote Trump and Republican has declined slightly. What's going on?
I think it fundamentally comes down to immigration. And the reality is there are people that, like I'm a first-generation American, people that went through the process of legally immigrating to this country. They are seeing a record amount of illegal immigration in the United States, people that aren't being vetted, people on the terror watch list slipping in, a record amount of fentanyl, record amount of drugs coming in. So immigration is the number one issue now in the United States. And so fundamentally, people know that it's unfair that Joe Biden has incentivized and decriminalized people breaking the law. And I think that people are really frustrated because, just last year, you had 100,000 fentanyl-related deaths in the United States.
It's horrific.
And so I think when I go out and I talk to people, it seems like, why does Joe Biden care more about the Ukrainian border? And we're spending billions of dollars to try to secure the Ukrainian border versus not securing the United States border when every day Americans are dying.
It could also be, couldn't it, that a lot of the Hispanic population are still Christian, are still church-going, have a belief in the family, and look at identity politics, look at what's being taught in some American schools in Democrat states and just don't like it.
Yeah, well, and fundamentally, you have people fleeing socialist third world countries, corrupt governments in places like Venezuela and in Central America. So if they voted or defeated, they're leaving those countries, what makes you think they want more socialism and centralized control in the United States of America?
Mark Brnovich, as clear as ever. Thank you very much indeed.